Alright, welcome to the module project for Module 2 of Word, CAPL 1023. This is the Technology Health Concerns research paper that we'll be working on. So you can go ahead if you had downloaded the start file that Cindy provided last week on D2L, go ahead and do that. Otherwise, I've included it in the Google Classroom. You can download it, the start file there. I've named it Tech Health Concerns Start File, and again, that's right on the Google Classroom. So if you're following along in the textbook, we are on page 2-5 is where we're going to start. So the first thing we're going to do is modify a style. And so when we're working on a research paper, we're going to be working in the MLA style, but we're also going to be setting up our normal style for the specific document. So let's go ahead and go to the normal on our home tab styles group. We're going to go to normal, right click, and then modify. Excuse me. From there, we're going to change the font size to Times New Roman 12 point. We are going to double space our document. So this is single 1.5 spacing, double line spacing. We're going to go to double spacing. And then this is add space after paragraph, remove space. We're going to make sure we've selected this remove space after paragraph. All right, it's going to be left aligned, and we can go ahead and make sure we say only in this document. Okay. And then you'll see immediately our document has been changed to this double spacing Times New Roman 12 point to correspond with the MLA style suggestions. All right. So we can kind of navigate, and again, while we're navigating through this project, since we've typed the body of the document in advance, there's going to be a lot of steps that we can skip. So I just wanted to let you know that. All right. So let's go ahead and navigate to page 2-9 in the textbook if you're following along. We're going to add a header. So let's go up to our header. And in MLA style, your header is going to appear on all pages, and it'll be up in the right-hand side of the page with a page number. So let's go ahead and go to our header design tab. I'm going to choose a header, the blank page header, and then I'm going to Control R to navigate to right align it. Otherwise, it's on your home tab in your paragraph group. I'm just going to click in the box right here, because we're going to, it'll always be the person's last name who's working on the project. And so in this case, the last name is Yazzie, Nina Yazzie. So let's go ahead and type Yazzie, space, and then we're going to insert a page number. So we're going to go up to our header, footer tools, design tab, page number. We want to insert it at the current position, and we want a plain page number. These other ones are going to be, we call them building blocks, and so they'll have specific styles applied to them. We want to just go to the plain current position, plain number, to give it that plain page number. All right. So we can close that header. Now we're done with the header for now. All right. And so now we're going to go ahead and we're going to come to I'm going to go Control Home to come to the beginning of my document. And then we're going to type our research paper header. And so with this, it's going to have our name, our instructor's name, the course name, and then the due date of the paper. So we're going to go ahead and type that information. So the person, again, her name is Nina Yazzie. The instructor is Mr. Slabovnik. The course is English 101. And the date is October 6, 2021. All right. And so then in the next line of text, we are going to go ahead and type our title of our research paper. So I'm going to hit enter again one time. I'll turn on my formatting marks, and we're going to create this in the blank line between these two. The center, the heading, the title of the research paper will always be centered, so either Control-E or center your document. And then we are going to type health concerns of using technology. And again, the header will be in title case, so all of the main words, if it's not a definite article, it's going to be a capital letter. Alright, so health concerns of using technology. Alright, so we've got that. We've got our header created, we've got our heading, paper heading, and we've got our title created. Now a lot of the next part of the document is about typing it. So again, if you're navigating through this with me, sorry about that. If you're navigating through this with me, just kind of pay attention to when I'm kind of calling out page numbers. All right, so we're going to go ahead and we're going to make sure your rulers are showing. If they're not, again, your View tab, make sure this ruler box is checked. We're going to select the body of our text, so the body of our document, and we are going to just make sure we've got a first line indent. So right up here, the little kind of looks like home base hanging down up on our ruler, we're just going to select first line indent. All right. And so we've got we've got this text of our research paper created already. So there's a lot of the stuff. So as we go through the book on page 18, it talks about auto-correcting. It talks about creating an entry to auto-correct. We're not gonna do that again because we don't really have to. And then it continues on to talking about like bibliography style and entering citations and footnotes and stuff. So let's go ahead. We've got this created. So let's go ahead and do a file save as right now. And I'm going to go ahead and navigate to where I save my documents. So for me, it's in my flash drive, assignments, module 2, and this is the project SC_WD_2-technology health concerns paper. Excuse me again. Alright, so we got that saved. So now let's go ahead. We are going to go to our References tab and then make sure in our Citations and Bibliography area we've got the MLA style selected. We're currently in MLA 8th edition in the real world. However, in the world of Microsoft, it's still using the 7th edition style, so make sure it says MLA 7th edition. Now really the only ones in this that you would need to know would be MLA and APA. APA is done more in the STEM fields. MLA is used in the liberal arts fields primarily. So, and then also like psychology and sociology, like science, science areas of the liberal arts, the APA style is used as well. And that just stands for American Psychological Association. MLA is the Modern Language Association. So make sure we've got MLA 7th edition selected. And then now we can, again, I'm going to save it, and then now we can start adding our new sources. So we are going to navigate to the second paragraph, and it's going to be kind of in the middle, the 1, 2, 3, 4, looks like the 4th or 5th sentence, starting with symptoms of CTS. We're going to bring our insertion point after the word fingers, but before the period. And again, when we're creating a citation, the citation will go inside the period. If we're creating a footnote or an endnote, that will go outside of the period. So we're going to bring our between the word fingers and the period to end the sentence. And we're going to go ahead and insert a citation using a new source. And in this case, the source we're going to use, and that's going to open up this dialog box here, the source we're going to use is is it a book? It's a article in a periodical, sorry. So an article in a periodical. The author is Zhao Shenli. So Zhao, Shenli. The title of this article is Technology, Aches and Pains. The periodical title is Monthly Medical and Review. Now, the actual title is Monthly Medical Review. It's going to tell us to delete the word "and" later on. So you can do whatever you want. So Monthly Medical and Review. I will type it as it says in the book. But again, if you just want to eliminate that step, just do Monthly Medical Review right now. The year of publication is 2021 in the month July. And there's no day, it's a monthly, and then no page number, so we're just going to say n.pag, period, so n, no page, and then the medium is web. Alright, and so whenever we access a web page, you always want to include when you've accessed that information. So it's not going to show in all of these, but if you click on Show All Bibliographic Fields, you'll see the starred ones, the ones with the little asterisks, are the recommended fields. Those are the ones that it automatically shows you. But if we scroll down a little bit, here's where we have our date accessed and year accessed. So let's go down to year accessed, and we are going to choose 2021, October 1st. So 2021, OCT, and in this case we're just typing OCT period, and then 1. And then in the current MLA style, you do not have to include URLs. Back when I was in school, in college, when we were writing research papers, when the internet was young, we always had to include the URLs, and sometimes the URLs could be really, really long, but now it's kind of an accepted convention that we do not have to any longer include those URLs. So this is all we're going to need. Let's go ahead and say OK, and it pops our citation in as a field right there. Alright, so we're going to continue on to page 25. It's telling us to enter some additional text, and then we're going to enter a footnote. And again, so footnotes are going to be outside of the period. So we're going to come to this developing the repetitive strain injuries. So that's at the end of that second paragraph. We're going to bring our insertion point outside of the period, between the period and that paragraph mark, that hard return mark. And in this case, we're going to insert a footnote. So in your footnotes area of the reference tab, let's click on footnote. It's going to bring a little footer down at the bottom. And here, we're going to type the footnote text, according to Clark and Nadir. So, according to Clark and Nadir, N-A-D-E-E-R, tendinitis of the wrist and carpal tunnel syndrome can lead to permanent physical damage if left untreated. Alright, and then we're going to enter space, and we're going to insert a citation here as well. So let's go ahead. We've entered that space, and now we're going to insert a citation placeholder. So let's go ahead and go up to our Insert Citation, and then add a new placeholder, because we're not ready to enter the text of it yet. and this text we're going to enter for the placeholder is Clark. Now we're going to enter Clark and Nadir a little bit later, so if you want to say Clark and Nadir now, you can. It doesn't make a difference, but we're just going to enter Clark. Okay. And then period. All right, so let's go ahead and save our progress. And continuing on, we are now, since we've entered this footnote text, we now can modify our footnote style because we want all of our, our header, our footer, our main body document, everything is going to be 12-point Times New Roman, double spaced, removing all the spacing. So we want to kind of continue that style down here. So just going to select, click somewhere in that footer or the little footnote that you've entered. We're going to right click on it and then choose the option Style. So from Style, it's going to say we're on our footnote text, so make sure it says footnote text. We're going to modify the style. Times New Roman, we're going to change this to 12-point. And we are going to make sure we've got double spaced and removing the paragraph, removing the additional space. And then again, only in this document. This is very important that we always say only to this document. And if you wanted to add it to the styles, you could add it to your styles. That way it'll pop up in your quick styles menu, but it doesn't make a difference if you do that or not. All right, so we can say OK and then apply. And now you see there's our text. So again, I'm going to do a quick save. All right, so our style now matches the document. So now let's go ahead and edit that Clark source that we just added. So we're going to come over to Clark, select it, hit the drop down, and edit that source. So in this case, we are choosing a book. So let's go ahead and choose a book. The author is Clark. And then let's go edit. So Clark, and the first name is Addison. Addison, sorry. And then the middle name is Lee. And then let's add a name. And the other name is Nadir Aisha Sati. Aisha Sati. And then add that one. Let's see, this blank Clark that we've got, let's delete that one. And then OK. So we've got Clark and Nadir. All right, the title of our book is Repetitive Strain Injuries. The year is 2021, Boston. 2021, the city is Boston. The publishing house is Lighthouse Publishing. And it is a print medium. All right, so Clark and Nadir, Repetitive Strain Injuries, Boston 2021, Lighthouse Publishing. Let me get that space between there. Oopsie. And OK. All right, so here's our Clark and Nadir source. All right, so now we're going to add a page number to this as well. And don't know why we have to do this in jumbled pieces, but let's go ahead and click on that drop down over here in our citation text. We're going to edit the citation this time. And this time we're going to include the pages, but we want to only include the pages because we just said according to Clark and Nadir, so we don't have to say Clark and Nadir here. So what we're going to do is we're going to enter the page numbers where this information is found, so page 65 to 66, and we are going to go ahead and make sure we suppress the author and suppress the title. That way it's not going to show all that information here. Let's go ahead and say OK, and there's our source. There our citation. Again, since we say according to Clark and Nadir, tendinitis of the wrist, blah 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 blah, we don't have to say Clark and Nadir 6566 because it's assumed, unless we had multiple articles or books or sources by Clark and Nadir combined. Then we would have to say, we would put the title of that document. We wouldn't have to say Clark and Nadir again. Hopefully that makes sense. All right, go ahead and do your save. So then we're continuing on adding that more texts. People often listen to music, whatever. All right, and then we are going to insert an automatic page break. And so we are going to do that at, all right, so we're going to enter that, we're going to do that page break, but let's also finish this citation. So we've got this text by using high quality auditory devices, blah, 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 continuing here. So where it says hearing loss, we're going to go right over there. We're going to hit the space bar, we're going to enter a new citation. So let's go ahead and go insert a citation, and we're going to do a placeholder. And the placeholder is going to be Sanchez. Okay. All right. And then we've got our period to end the sentence. And so now we can see what we also can do is if you come up between, since we're looking at this in print layout view, if you come between the two pages, we've got 1 inch spacing around everything, front or top, bottom, left, and right. But if you hover in this little gray area between the pages, let it sit there for a second. If your screen tips are on it, it will say double click to hide white space. If you double click that, come on. No, I don't want to do that. All right, come here. There we go. So if you double click on that, it's going to show you what this will look like without space. And so we've got this, our text kind of stopping in the middle of our sentence, which we may or may not want. So let's see, I'm going to go ahead and click on that line again that it's created, and let's go ahead and edit our source. So I'm going to come back to Sanchez, say edit source, and then we're going to go ahead and do this. So this Sanchez source is going to be a website. The author is Sanchez Jorge Mario. Sanchez, Jorge Mario. The name of the web page is Technology and Your Hearing. Come on. Not your hearing, your hearing. All right. So the year accessed, so we're going to come down here. The year accessed is 2021, October 1st. And the medium is web. All right. Okay. And let's go ahead and save it. We've got additional text entered after this, which is kind of what we're gonna, that's kind of where we need to be at this point. So we've got all the text entered for our paper. So now let's go ahead and we're going to add a works cited or a bibliography section. And so we're going to go down. I'm going to do a Control-N to return to the bottom of my document. And here I'm going to go ahead and insert a hard page break. And so a hard page break as opposed to a soft page break. This would be a soft page break where the page breaks on its own just based on the text wrapping. A hard page break is going to be one that we create. So you can either do that by holding Control and hitting Enter, or you can come up to your Layout tab, go to breaks, and just select page break. All right. And so here we're going to go ahead and we're going to create that works cited. So I'm going to go ahead and Control E to center. And I'm going to type works cited and then enter, and then bring it back to a left align. So Control L. All right, and now I'm going to go ahead and create my bibliography. So in my References tab, in my Citations and Bibliography, where I've inserted citations, I'm going to select this bibliography option. Now you can take a look at these. There's these kind of built-in ones, a bibliography, a references, and a works cited. But we want to go down to this Insert Bibliography, so this is an unformatted one. So I'm just going to go ahead and click on that one, and then it's going to bring those sources in right there, which is very slick. All right, let's go ahead and do a little quick save over here again. All right, so now once we've got our works cited page, oh, and one more thing I will say is, if you take a look at this, this is a little bit off kilter. I'm going to bring my insertion point right up here. You'll notice that I've got this first line indent still on. I'm going to go ahead and get rid of that. So now my page is, or my works cited is truly centered on my page. All right, so now if we need to manage any of our sources, we can do that from our Source Manager. So again, that's going to be in our References tab, and here's our Manage Source options. So if we click on that, now in the current list is going to be sources that have been cited in this specific document. If you do a lot of research and you build a master list, you'll have all those documents over here. So the master list is going to be every source that you've created on your computer. So again, if you're using a computer on campus, every time you close the computer, this master list will be eliminated. However, if you use your personal computer, this will just keep building and building and building and building. All right, so this is our managed sources, and then if we need to manage, modify or edit any of these specific sources, you can just click on it over here and choose to edit it. So we're going to actually go ahead and click on that Shenli Zhao source, and then we're going to do a edit. And again, this is what I told you earlier. This periodical is actually Monthly Medical Review, not Monthly Medical and Review. So we're just going to delete the word and. All right, and then we're going to OK that. This says the source exists in your master list. Do you want to change both? Yes, we do. And then we can close that. And then now, if you come down here, we'll see it still says Monthly Medical and Review, but if we right-click, update the field, now that will be eliminated. All right, so let's go ahead and do a quick save again. All right, so we've updated the works cited page to include that change to the date. Now, anytime you insert a field into a document, it inserts as a field. So if we scroll back up to our Sanchez, you'll notice that this is a field. Any one of these citations, those are all fields that we've inserted, just as our works cited is a field. So if we right-click on it, we can update this field. Now, if you don't want the text to be included as a field, you can eliminate that. But just remember, once you do it, once you remove it as a field, you can't do an automatic update anymore. Now, to do that, I don't want to say it's complicated, but it's a hard thing to remember. You would hold your control key down and your shift key down at the same time, and then hit your function 9 key. That's your F9 key. It's typically going to be at the top row of your keyboard above like the 8 or 9 key. So right now we've got this. If I right click, I have update field. And you can see that if I toggle my field code, you can see that this is it's just a simple field. It's a code that's been inserted in there. So if I hit my Control Shift F9, you'll see that now if I right click, I no longer have that choice to update my field. And so I would say only do this if you do not intend to continue, you want to make edits to your bibliography or your works cited or whatever. So again, I just undid this, so I have that back, so it's still available to me. And realistically, I don't know, when you're creating a bibliography or a works cited, I don't know why you would want to eliminate that as a field. To me, that's just silly, because it's so easy to do it, to modify it and to update it. So anyway, all right. So now what we're going to do is, again, if this was a long research paper, a 10, 20, 30 page paper, to be able to to scroll through it page by page would be kind of a hassle. So what we can also do is we can also open our navigation pane. So if we go to our View tab, and then in our Show Navigation pane, right here, we've got our headings, pages, and results. The results was when we did our find and replace. But if we click on pages, this is going to give us a preview of our document and all of the pages. So here's the page 1, page 2, page 3 that we're working on right now. So if we wanted to make a change on, say, page 1, we could just scroll through here and go to page 1 instead of scrolling through our entire document. All right, so I'm selecting page 1. I'm going to go ahead and close this. And now, if I want to, say, make another citation, I can do that here as well. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring my insertion point into the 5th sentence of the 2nd paragraph. So we've got our 2nd paragraph. The 5th sentence, I think, is that the factors include blah, 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 blah. So yes, between the mouse and the keyboard right here. So here we're going to insert a new citation. So I'm just going to bring my insertion point right there. And this time I'm going to insert a citation from an existing source. So I can just come up to my references, choose Insert Citation, and this time I want to do that Clark and Nadir citation. So I'm just going to click on Clark and Nadir, and there it is right there. All right. So let's go ahead and save our changes as we're navigating through this. Now, if I'm using a technical word that I'm concerned some people may not be aware of, so for example, auditory, I want to change auditory to a different word that's easier for people to understand. And again, if I can do this in my navigation pane as well. So if I could just go to Results, I can choose Start Auditory. And then I'm going to hit this little drop-down option right over here and say Replace, but I want to make sure I have the whole word in there. Auditory. And I'm going to say Replace with what? I'm going to choose Listening instead. And then I'm going to replace all of them. All right, so I can go ahead and close that, close my navigation pane, because I don't need that anymore. And now if we can do just some simple editing. So in this case, if you want to choose a word, so let's say for example continual. So taking continual breaks and exercising the hand and arms, but you can see in the page, in the sentence right before that, typing or mouse usage and continual shifting. So typically we would not want to have the same word that close to each other. And so if we wanted to change one of those, we could make a change to one of those. So if I come down to the second one, taking continual breaks, if I just right-click on the word and choose my synonyms, repeated, frequent, recurrent, incessant, constant, I'm going to choose frequent. So instead of continual, now it says frequent. And again, since that same word, and it's not a word that most people use very frequently, and so the appearance of it that close to one another is kind of, it sets off a little red flag. All right, let's go ahead and save our progress as we go. There's also a feature called Smart Lookup, which is an option that it's in your References tab, and it's right here. And so it's more of a, if we looked up a word, let's say headphones, for example, we could do Smart Lookup, and it's going to give us some options about headphones. And so it's a really cool feature when you're doing research. But when you're writing a research paper like this and you've got your research done, it's not that important. But just know that these researcher and Smart Lookup options are available, and they're kind of cool. And so if you wanted to, I think in the textbook it talks about researching carpal tunnel syndrome or something, but we don't really do anything with it. All right. We can also change the view. So if we wanted to look at multiple pages, we could click on multiple pages, and it's going to show us what our document looks like when it's all lined up. I can turn off my formatting marks so I don't have to look at those. But this kind of gives us a preview of what our full document will look like. And then if you wanted to view it in read mode, you can change the color of the page and do a bunch of stuff like that. But it's a lot of stuff that, I'm a frequent user of Microsoft Office. I very seldom use the read mode, and when I do use the read mode, I never change the color of the paper. But just know that, if you wanted to do that, that option is there. You can change your layout, your paper layout, however you want it, editing, so all that stuff is available in the read mode. You can just click escape to get out of read mode. All right, now let's say we wanted to insert a document, because I think that's one of the next things. And now we're on page 57. The note says, after reading through the paper, you have 2 comments for the originator of the document. So we can go back to, oopsie, I didn't want to do that. I wanted to go back to view it, and it's 100%. Let's go back and look at our review tab and comments. All right, I don't see that there's comments in here already, but yes, I do not see that there are comments in here. But I think it said there's all markup. Oh well. But then I think we add some comments in here, but then do we eliminate them at the end, or do we keep them here? I suppose we're going to keep them there. So we're going to go to our review tab, and again, yours is going to look a little bit different because mine's all squished together in this layout. And so we're going to go to the taking frequent breaks paragraph, or the sentence right here. So taking frequent breaks and strain injuries. All right. So I'm going to go here, and I'm going to go to a comment. So in my comments, I'm going to say new comment. And there's my little notice. And I'm going to type the comment, let's cover the hand and arm exercises in our brochure for patients. So let's cover the hand and arm exercises oh, yeah, I realize I'll change that in a second. In our brochure for patients. Period. All right. Exercises. All right. And while we're down here, we also had a oh, you know what I think we did? I'm going to click on this. I think we moved this and I kind of skipped that step. But if you click on this citation, hover over this little tab, like the three little dots, we're going to actually move this to this sentence. So I'm just going to click and hold right here and drag it over to there. And so now it's right there. And now this is in fact where we want that one to go. So that was my bad. Sorry about that. All right. And then we're going to add another comment on the top of page 2 where it says lower volume blah 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 can help. That Sanchez comment. Let's select that comment. And again, we're going to add a new comment. And this time we're going to say, let's stress this point in our brochures for patients, or in our brochure for patients. All right. And if we want to edit the comment, and again, this is just, as far as I'm concerned, this is just some of that busy stuff. We're going to let's cover, and we're going to edit a comment. So I'm just going to click in it. So I've got my insertion point between cover and the, and I'm just going to add examples of. So let's cover examples of the hand and arm exercises. All right. And so if we need to go to a specific comment, we can go to previous, next, and we can navigate using our comment dialog box right there. All right. So now we've got a couple comments in here. Now if we want the comments to show in the body of our paper, we can have that. It'll just kind of open up in a dialog box on the side of your screen. Otherwise, if you don't want those visible, we're going to click on tracking, and we're going to say no markup. We'll get rid of our comments if we say simple markup. It's going to give us a little dialog box or a little word balloon in the margin where we've got a comment. And then again, that no markup kind of takes that out of there. All right, so I think we are going to use the simple markup version. All right. And then I think, no, then we're actually going to delete the comments. What a goofy thing. So I'm just going to come over here and go to my comment, delete it, come down to my other comment, and delete it. But that's how you'd make comments if you needed to. Or you can say delete all comments too. All right, but let's go ahead and do a save as, or quick save to save that document. And this one is now complete.